let us see about the oxides of nitrogen. Oxides of nitrogen. I have told you already, nitrogen behaves in a different manner on reaction with oxides. So, a multiple, it occurs a positive valency ranging from +1 to +5. So, let us see which are the various oxides of nitrogen. We have an N2O, which is called the nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide, or this is also known as laughing gas. And this is N2O exists in a oxidation. In this, nitrogen exists in the +1 oxidation state, and the oxide is a neutral oxide. And we have nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, NO, in this oxidation state of nitrogen is +2, and this is also a neutral oxide. And we also have N2O3 with the +3, and this is an acidic oxide, N2O3, and we have NO2, the +4 oxidation state, nitrogen dioxide. This is also an acidic oxide. And we have N2O4 and N2O5. Dinitrogen dioxide, where with us the valency of almost +4. And nitrogen N2O5, okay, dinitrogen dioxide, and this is a superoxide of N2O5 where the valency is +5. All these are acidic oxides. In this, nitrogen mostly occurs a +1 oxidation state. As I have told you, this nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide, or a laughing gas, nitric oxide. Okay, and all those things. Nitrogen dioxide, I have told you this as nitrogen dioxide. This is in common name, it is nitrogen peroxide. And nitrogen superoxide. So these are the various oxides of nitrogen. Another important nitrogen compound is HNO3, or nitric acid. Nitric acid has a lot of commercial application, and nitric acid in the laboratory is prepared by treating sodium nitrate or potassium nitrate. Sodium or potassium nitrate is from sodium or potassium nitrate we get HNO3. This sodium nitrate and or potassium, either sodium, and then, but in the commercial preparation, this is actually, but in commercial preparation it is prepared from catalytic oxidation. Catalytic oxidation of ammonia gas from air. So ammonia gas plus O2 in the presence of platinum and rhodium gas as catalyst, and we have 9 bar pressure. It performs nitric oxide. Okay, and the nitric oxide nitric oxide, this nitric oxide reacts with okay, H2O. This nitric oxide reacts with this nitric oxide, then it reacts with the further oxygen to form nitrogen dioxide, and this nitrogen dioxide, when treated with water, becomes HNO3, and in this process we also get NO back. So nitrogen catalytic hydrogenation of catalytic oxygenation or oxidation of ammonia gas converted to nitric oxide. Nitric acid becomes nitrogen dioxide, and the nitrogen peroxide on treatment, nitrogen dioxide on treatment with water gives HNO3, and we get NO. This NO which is there is recycled again to get more of nitric acid. Nitric acid we get from this process is almost 68% pure. It is further purified up to 98%. It is further purified up to 98% by you actually using H2SO4, which removes the unnecessary water molecules which are there in the, by drying we get up to 98% of HNO3 as such is a nitric acid is a powerful oxidizing agent. It's a powerful oxidizing agent. It oxidizes all metals. It oxidizes all metals, converting them to their oxides. And then it is a HNO3 in aqueous medium gives both nitrate ions as well as hydronium ions. When it is treated with HNO3, when it treated with in aqueous medium, gives both hydronium ion as well as nitrate ion. Gives both hydronium ion and nitrate ion. I told you it is a powerful oxidizing agent. It oxidizes all the metals to their oxides, except gold and silver. All the other metals are oxidized by HNO3. Okay. So during this process, nitric acid either gets converted to NO2 or some of the nitrates. And HNO3 is has a lot of commercial application as an oxidizing agent. The usual popular test for any nitrate involves the brown ring test. In the sense, a nitrate salt, for the qualitative analysis of a nitrate salt, we take the nitrate salt solution, add FeSO4, dilute ferrous sulfate solution, and in the same test tube we add concentrated sulfuric acid, drop by drop through the sides. We find a brown ring at the junction of the two layers between the sulfuric acid and the solution of ferrous sulfate with any nitrate. This formation of the brown ring test is a characteristic of all it is a characteristic of all nitrates. So this is used for qualitative reduction of nitrate presence of nitrate in any. I have told you about the laboratory preparation. This reaction involves sodium nitrate is getting treated with H2SO4 to get HNO3 and Na2SO4. Is the laboratory preparation. Say complete reaction involves sodium or potassium nitrate with treated with the sulfuric acid to get HNO. The next compound of 15th group is phosphorus. Okay, phosphorus is P4. So phosphorus is available in many allotropic forms, and you know what is an allotrope. So it is available as white phosphorus, red phosphorus, and black phosphorus. White phosphorus, red phosphorus, and black phosphorus. In fact, we get white phosphorus is available in more quantities. It is insoluble in water, and it is soluble in carbon disulfide, insoluble in water, and it is insoluble in water, and soluble in carbon disulfide. Okay. White phosphorus is very, very poisonous, and it is very, very reactive. So actually, so white phosphorus has to be preserved carefully, otherwise it bursts in air, or I think it explodes in air to give its, it explodes in air to give its oxide, P4O10. White phosphorus burst, actually literally it's a powerful explosive reaction. It bursts in air to give its P4O10 oxide, and it also reacts with the sodium hydroxide to give phosphine. So white phosphorus has to be properly stored. When white phosphorus is heated to a temperature of up to almost 500 Kelvin and in an inert atmosphere, other important property of white phosphorus is its chemiluminescence. Chemiluminescence. Luminescence. Chemiluminescence in the sense, means it glows in dark. It glows in dark so that it can be very easily identified in a darker condition. When white phosphorus is heated in an inert atmosphere continuously for several days, we get red phosphorus. Red phosphorus is insoluble both in water and carbon disulfide. Okay. So compared to white phosphorus, the red phosphorus may not be that chemically active, and this red phosphorus on further heating at a higher temperature gives black phosphorus. Black phosphorus there is alpha black phosphorus and a beta black phosphorus. Okay. Though these allotrope forms are seen, mostly for chemical reactions and other things, we take the white phosphorus, which is the important compound of phosphorus. As I told you, it bursts in air, and it also forms phosphine with the sodium hydroxide. The important compound of phosphorus is phosphine. Phosphine is prepared from calcium phosphide by treating it with either HCl or with water. Calcium phosphide is treated either with HCl or with H2O to get phosphine. And the laboratory preparation of phosphine is, as I have told you, by treating white phosphorus with the sodium hydroxide. White phosphorus with the sodium hydroxide, we get phosphine. This is a laboratory preparation. Phosphine we get, if it is 100% pure, it is inflammable. Sorry, it is non-inflammable. Phosphine, when it is very pure, it is non-inflammable. But however, over the period of time, there are certain impurities like phosphorus which are added to this thing, and P2HF4, impurities like P2H4 and P4, which are slowly entering into the phosphine, makes it highly inflammable. Okay, so phosphine is used in commercial application, especially by sailors, as home signal. The readily inflammable property of phosphine is utilized in home signal, in the sense of sailors to identify their presence in the deep sea, or to identify their presence in the nights. To others, they periodically throw this phosphine with the P2SO4 containing this thing, and it actually burns and to give a light. So this is used for identification of the ship, so that no other ship sailing nearby is coming in its way, avoiding accidents. Apart from that, it is also used, phosphine is also used in smoke screens. This is about the phosphine, since it has a commercial application we are studying about. Let us see some of the important compounds of phosphorus, namely phosphorus trichloride and phosphorus pentachloride. Okay. PCl3 is prepared from white phosphorus, phosphorus trichloride. On treatment of this thing with chlorine, we get PCl3. PCl3 has a tetrahedral shape, in the sense you have the phosphorus to which 3 of chlorines are attached. It has a tetrahedral or a pyramidal shape. Tetrahedral or the pyramidal shape with the phosphorus in a sp3 combination. Phosphorus trichloride, PCl3, is reacts with organic compounds containing hydroxyl group, OH group, either acid, that is acetic acid, or any acetic alcohol, or ethyl alcohol. Acetic acid is CS3COH and ethyl alcohol is C2H5OH. So reacts with the organic compounds containing hydroxyl group to give S3PO3, the phosphorus acid. So this is in general about PCl3. And when it comes to PCl5, when white phosphorus is made to react with the excess of chlorine, when white phosphorus is made to react with the excess of chlorine, so 4 3s are 12, no? It is made to react with the excess of chlorine, we get PCl5, phosphorus pentachloride. And PCl5 is a solid, and when it is actually put in moist air or absorbs the moisture from the air, and to get converted to POCl3 with the moist air, it gets converted to H2O of the air, converts to POCl3, and this POCl3 on further hydrolysis becomes S3PO4. That is phosphoric acid. Okay, and PCl5, it's converted to PCMO, and in case of reaction with metals, when the finely divided metals, PCl5 gets converted to PCl3. In the presence of finely divided metals like copper or any other thing, it is getting converted to PCl3. And when this PCl5 as trigonal bipyramidal, because there are 5 this thing, phosphorus, it has a trigonal bipyramidal state. As a trigonal bipyramidal shape, and I have told you about the important reactions of PCl5, where this is 10Cl2. where it is either converted to phosphorus oxychloride and phosphoric acid, or it is getting converted from PCl5 to